Good evening, everyone. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime, and we are going to be talking about one George Stinney Jr. On June 16th, 1944, a 14-year-old boy, 95 pounds, he was 5'1", is strapped into South Carolina's electric chair. He's too small for the mask. He uses a Bible to boost him up. The mask slips. He cries, "Take this off." 2,400 volts. He's dead in 4 minutes. His name was George Stinney Jr. Convicted in under 3 hours, no evidence, no lawyer, just a false confession from a terrified black kid in Jim Crow South. This is the youngest execution in US history, and it took 70 years, 70 years to prove he was innocent. Welcome to Red True Crime. Okay, welcome back, Red Army. If you're new, hit subscribe right now because we drop the darkest, most twisted true crime every week. And today we're talking about the George Stinney case, a legal lynching that'll make your blood boil. No fluff, but let's dive right in, okay? So, this is really literally a case of white versus black. It really is. In Alcolu, South Carolina, population 400 people. One railroad track divides everything. White side, nice houses, nice jobs. Black side, shacks, no plumbing. And George Stinney Jr. lives here with his parents and 4 siblings. Dad works a lumber mill, mom does laundry. George, he's 14 years old, he's in the 7th grade, loves church, and he's literally 95 pounds soaking wet. He's quiet, shy, and on March  24th, 1944, 2 little white girls go missing. Betty June Binnicker, 11, and Mary Emma Thames, 7. They're looking for maypops, wildflowers. Around 4 p.m., they ride past the Stinney house. They stop. Ask George and his little sister Amy, who's 7, "Where can we find flowers?" George points, "Over there." The girls ride off, never seen alive again. The next morning, a search party. George's dad helps look. They find the girls in a water-filled ditch behind the black church. Skulls crushed, blunt force trauma. One girl has minor bruising down there. Um, no fluid, so it wasn't full assault. The weapon, gone, but the town explodes. Rumors fly. A black boy did it. Lynch mob forms. And guess who they want? March 25th. No warrant. Deputies H.S. Newman and Pratt storm the Stinney shack. George is handcuffed. His little brother Johnny is grabbed too, then released. George is taken to a shed. No parents, no lawyer. Interrogated for hours. They claim he says, "I hit them with a piece of iron because they messed with me." No signed confession, no recording, no witnesses. George later tells family, "They beat me. They said say it or else." That night, the mill evicts the entire Stinney family. They flee 50 miles to Pinewood, never see George again. He's moved to Columbia Jail to protect him from the mob. Translation: isolate him, break him. April 24th, 1944. 1 month later. Trial day. 1,000 white spectators, 0 black people allowed. George's lawyer? Charles Plowden, tax guy running for office. He meets George once, calls 0 witnesses, doesn't challenge the confession. Prosecution. 3 cops say George confessed. They mention the RAPE rumors, no evidence. Defense? Crickets. Jury out 10 minutes. Verdict guilty. Sentence death. George doesn't say a word, just cries. On June 16th, 1944, 83 days from arrest to death, no appeal, no transcript. June 16th, 7:30 a.m., George walks to the chair. Too small. They stack phone books and his Bible. Strap his arms, legs, chest, mask over face. First jolt, mask slips. You see his eye, wide, terrified. He screams, take this off. Second jolt. Third, smoke. He's gone. Youngest person executed in America in the 20th century. George is buried in an unmarked grave in Paxville. Family changes names, lives in fear. Case forgotten until 2004. A local historian named George Frierson starts digging. He finds alibi affidavits, coercion claims, rumors of a white suspect. The white suspect? George Burke Jr. George Washington Burke Jr., son of the lumber mill boss, white, had a truck. Bodies found on Burke land. His dad led the coroner's jury. Yeah. So that would be this right here. That is the coroner's inquest form. So his father led the coroner's jury. A little bit of a conflict, right? Rumor. Deathbed confession in 1947. Family allegedly paid to hush it up. Never investigated. Why? Protect the white elite. 2013. Stinney family files for a new trial. 70 years late. January 2014 hearing. Sister Amy, now 77. George was with me the whole time. Inmate Wilfred Hunter. George told me they beat him into confessing. Reverend Baston. The scene didn't match. Too much blood missing. And Judge Carmen Mullen listens for 3 days. On December 17th, 2014, Judge Mullen. The confession was coerced. Counsel was ineffective. Trial was a farce. Execution of a 14-year-old? Cruel and unusual. Conviction vacated. George Stinney Jr. is innocent. First time in U.S. history a posthumous execution is overturned. 2017. The headstone is finally placed. George J. Stinney Jr., 1929 to 1944. Exonerated 2014. His sister Amy says he can rest now. But the victims' families, furious. They say he was guilty. We did our own research. No apology from South Carolina. So the question is, why does this matter? It matters on many levels. This wasn't justice. This was racial terror. A coerced confession from a child, an all-white system, no evidence. Death in 83 days. George Stinney was sacrificed to calm a white mob, and the real killer walked free. This case helped ban executing kids in 2005. South Carolina now requires lawyers for juveniles, but no DNA. Bodies were too decomposed. There's no closure. just a ghost in a Bible boosted chair. So let me say this. George Stinney Jr. never got to grow up, never got a fair shot. But in 2014, the truth won. Never forget that one false accusation in a biased system can steal a life. And I will say this, we hear about these cases from long ago, even up to now, where people are incarcerated for false accusations, or you have corrupt police, corrupt prosecutors trying to make a name for themselves, and they will do what is necessary to get that conviction. And then here's what happens. You have somebody who was never the real suspect dies at the hands because of bad justice. And then the family who lost those 2 girls never got any type of, closure because now this case has been overturned and no one has ever been prosecuted for what happened to those kids. Never. My thing is, when you exonerate somebody who's been falsely accused and they spent decades in prison or they get executed, why do they not go after the person who made the accusation knowing it was false? Why don't they go after the corrupt cops, the corrupt DA, the even the bad witness? Why don't these people ever face any type of prosecutorial justice here? Why don't they ever get charged? I would love to know that. Because too many times these false confessions or these false, um, accusations, somebody goes to jail and they don't always come out alive. Just think, this kid was 14 years old, he was a child. He didn't do anything, and they had him tried and sentenced to prison and in the death chamber in 83 days. Charged, judged, and executed in 83 days. 83 days. What is wrong with this country? And I truly believe that anybody who was involved in this, yeah, of course, they're dead now, this happened in 1944, but anybody who was involved in this back when this actually happened, they should posthumously try these people and get it on the books that they were wrong and they shouldn't have been making up things like this. That's just my thought. So, as we say adieu on this, um, what do you think? You think it was a cover up for Burke? Drop your theory in the comments. Like if this case broke you, and subscribe and hit the bell because next week, I'm not sure who I'm going to talk about. But this is Red True Crime. Stay woke, stay safe, and peace.